1971 Liberty Half Dollar, officially known as the 1971 Kennedy Half Dollar. Welcome to this deep dive into the 1971 Liberty Half Dollar, better known as the 1971 Kennedy Half Dollar, a coin that holds a special place in American history, numismatics, and public memory. In this video, we'll explore the coin's historical background, geographical mint data, circulation details, condition grades, and the value of uncirculated specimens. Let's get started. The Kennedy half dollar was introduced in 1964 to honor the legacy of President John F. Kennedy, who was tragically assassinated in November 1963. The coin replaced the Franklin half dollar, and its design was rushed into production by early 1964 as a tribute to the late president. By 1971, the Kennedy half dollar was undergoing a key transformation. This was the first year the coin was struck entirely in copper nickel-clad composition, marking the end of silver use for regular issue coins. The 1971 Kennedy half dollar is a landmark coin because it represents the beginning of a new era in U.S. coinage. Obverse front features a left-facing bust of John F. Kennedy, designed by Gilroy Roberts. The word Liberty encircles the top rim, with the motto "In God We Trust" split across either side of the neck. The date 1971 appears at the bottom. Reverse back, designed by Frank Gasparro. It features a modified presidential seal, a heraldic eagle clutching an olive branch and arrows, surrounded by 50 stars, symbolizing the 50 states. The inscriptions include United States of America and half dollar. In 1971, the Kennedy half dollar was minted in 3 locations. Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark. Mintage, 155,164,000. Denver Mint, D mint mark. Mintage, 302,097, 424. Highest of the year, San Francisco Mint proof only. S mint mark. Mintage, 3,220,733 clad proof coins. It's worth noting that 1971 S-proof coins were not intended for circulation but were included in U.S. mint proof. Say outer layer, 75% copper, 25% nickel-clad core, pure copper weight, 11.34 grams diameter, 30.6 mg. Reader designer S. Gilroy Roberts, Obverse, Frank Gasparro. Reverse, although heavily minted. The 1971 half dollar was rarely seen in day-to-day commerce. By the 1970s, the public had developed a habit of hoarding half dollars, especially those from the 1960s that contained silver. Additionally, inflation made the coin less practical for everyday use. As a result, most 1971 Kennedy half dollars circulated within bank vaults, casinos, and collectors' markets, with relatively few coins used for retail transactions. In circulated condition, 1971 half dollars are generally worth face value, 50 cents. However, collectors grade coins based on their condition. Common, usually 50 to $1. About uncirculated, 050 AU 58. Slight wear on high points. Value ranges $1, $2. Mint state MS60, MS70. These are uncirculated coins with no signs of wear. Ms. 62, MS63. $2 $5 Ms. 642, MS66. $8 $30 Ms. 67 plus. Superb gems. Rare. May sell for $200, $1,000 plus if flawless and well struck. Part 7. Proof and uncirculated condition. 1971 S-proofs, made for collectors in special proof sets. Value. Ranges, $3, $10 depending on grade. Deep cameo proof, 70 coins. Can sell for $150, $300 plus in auctions. Special mint sets. None were made in 1971. Only regular uncirculated and proof coins exist. Uncirculated mint set coins, Philadelphia and Denver, higher quality than circulation strikes, often stored in original U.S. mint packaging. Value, typically $2, $6 per coin. In pristine condition, although 1971 is not famous for rare varieties, there are some collectible errors. Clipped planchette stubble dies DDO or DDR wrong planchette errors, for example. Struck on quarter or foreign planchades, one extremely rare variety is the 1971 D silver-clad error. A few were mistakenly struck on leftover 40% silver planchettes from 1970. These can sell for $1,000 to $5,000 plus if authenticated. The 1971 Kennedy half dollar is one of the most common in the series, especially in circulated condition. However, it still holds value for beginner collectors. Kennedy series completist coin hunters bulk silver-clad mistaken pieces. Its historical significance as the first fully copper nickel half dollar adds a layer of collectability, especially in pristine grades. The 1971 Liberty Kennedy half dollar may not contain silver, but it contains a rich slice of American history, a tribute to JFK, a shift in U.S. coinage policy, and a tangible reminder of the changes in American society during the early 1970s. Whether you have one in your pocket or a gem in your collection, this coin continues to hold a special place in U.S. numismatic heritage. Thanks for joining this historical and numismatic journey. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more coin insights and deep dives. Let me know if you'd like a video voiceover script, coin comparison, or thumbnail title idea. Next. Elizabeth II 2-cent coin. Welcome. Today, we'll take a deep dive into the 1989 Australian 2-cent coin featuring Queen Elizabeth II. Although small in denomination, this coin carries decades of historical, geographical, and cultural significance. From its origin in the Royal Australian Mint to its place in collections today, let's explore its design, circulation, mintage, and condition grades, both circulated and uncirculated. Australia, as part of the Commonwealth, has maintained close ties with the British monarchy since decimalisation in 1966. Australia transitioned from pounds, shillings, and pence to dollars and cents. The 2-cent coin was one of the new decimal denominations. The 1989 2-cent coin was issued under the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, who appears on the obverse of all Australian coins from 1953 through her death in 2022. It was minted in Canberra at the Royal Australian Mint, the official supplier of Australia's circulating coins since its establishment in 1965. Portrait, Queen Elizabeth I. Designer, Raphael McClove. Effigy used from 1985 to 1998. Description: the crowned head of Queen Elizabeth II. Facing right, the legend reads, Design: the Australian frill-necked lizard, Clemiosaurus kingi. Designer, Stuart Devlin, official goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen. Description: the frilled lizard is shown in a defensive posture, with its frill extended, appearing above the denomination 2. The frill-necked lizard is native to northern Australia and southern New Guinea, symbolizing Australia's unique wildlife. Year: 1989. Mintage approx. 31,600,000. Coins composition: bronze 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin diameter, 21.59 m weight, 5.18 grams edge. Plain, these coins were intended for general circulation across all Australian states and territories. In production of 1C and 2C coins ceased for circulation due to inflation and the rising cost of copper. After 1992, the 2C coin was gradually withdrawn, although it remained legal tender. Typical value: 10 to 50 cents AUD, depending on where. Q visual traits: worn design, reduced detail on queen's hair and lizard frill, scratches or dull surfaces. Collector value: common, not highly sought after unless part of bulk or year sets. Value range: $1.50, $5. AUD more if perfectly preserved or in original mint packaging. Features: full luster, no scratches or wear, crisp relief on both obverse and reverse. MS60, MS63. Entry level uncirculated, minor bag marks, MS64, MS65, sharper details. Good eye appeal, MS66 plus. Rare and highly collectible. Near perfect strike of the 2C coin were not minted in 1989 for general sale, only possibly as part of special mint or collector sets. The 1989 2-cent coin is part of Australia's now defunct low-denomination coinage, making it nostalgic for older Australians and increasingly collectible among new numismatists. While not rare, finding uncirculated or high-grade examples is becoming harder, as many were melted down or heavily circulated. Because of the unique frill-necked lizard design and bronze tone, the coin stands out visually in any collection. Did you know? Although no longer in production, 2-cent coins are still legal tender in Australia. However, they are not accepted in most everyday transactions due to rounding rules. Introduced in the 1990s, featured ATO year 1989. Monarch Queen Elizabeth I. Mintage 31.6 million. Designer Obverse, Raphael McClove. Designer, Reverse Stuart Devlin. 10 cents 50 cents odd uncirculated value, $1.50 5 OD. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just exploring Australian coins for the first time, the 1989 Elizabeth II 2-cent coin is a piece of currency that reflects Australia's rich numismatic heritage and diverse wildlife. Though its monetary value is small, its cultural and historical story is anything but. Keep your eyes on those old coin jars, you might just discover one. Would you like this as a printable PDF, a narrated voiceover script, or formatted for a presentation? Next up, Australian 1974 Elizabeth II 2-cent coin, suitable for educational or documentary-style purposes. The Australian 1974 2-cent coin, bearing the image of Queen Elizabeth II, is more than just a humble piece of copper. It represents a distinct chapter in Australia's decimal currency journey, blending numismatic, historical, and geographical narratives into a coin that many Australians still remember fondly. In the mid-20th century, Australia was preparing to modernize its monetary system. On February 14, 1966, Australia transitioned from the pounds, shillings, and pence system to decimal currency, introducing the dollar and cent units we use today. This monumental change was spearheaded by the Decimal Currency Board and supported by the Royal Australian Mint. As part of this transformation, the 2-cent coin was introduced. joining the 1-cent coin as Australia's smallest denomination. Coins. These coins replaced the pre-decimal halfpenny and penny coins, simplifying everyday transactions. The 2-cent coin was minted from 1966 to 1989, and the 1974 version marks the midpoint of its production history, featuring the then Queen Elizabeth II on its obverse. The 1974 2-cent coin was struck at the Royal Australian Mint, located in Canberra, the capital city of Australia, opened in 1965. The Royal Australian Mint was specifically established to produce coins for the new decimal system. Unlike other countries that use multiple mints, such as the United States or India, Australia centralized its coin production primarily in Canberra. The 1974 2-cent coin was not minted with any mint mark, indicating its origin from the Royal Australian Mint. These coins were distributed nationwide and became part of the everyday currency flow across all states and territories, from the bustling urban hubs of Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane to the more remote regions of Western Australia and the Northern Territory. Portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, facing right, designed by Arnold Machin, a British sculptor renowned for his royal effigies. The inscription reads, Mach. Portrayal of the Queen debuted on Australian coins in 1966 and remained in use until 1984. The design is noted for its youthful elegance and was also adopted in other Commonwealth nations' features, a striking frilled neck, lizard, claymore, kinji, native to Northern Australia, designed by Stuart Devlin, the official gold and silversmith to the Queen. The lizard is shown with its iconic frill extended a defensive posture meant to ward off predators. The reverse design reflects Australia's rich and unique biodiversity, making it one of the most iconic motifs in the country's coinage history. Featured Adolph's denomination to cents year of issue 1974 country Australia verse, designer Arnold Machin reverse, designer Stuart Devlin metal composition, bronze 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin diameter, 21.59 oomph, weight 5.18 grams edge plain mint, Canberra mintage, plain mint Royal Australian Mint, Canberra mintage approximately 150,484,000 coins. The 2-cent coin was widely used throughout the 1970s and 1980s for everyday purchases such as confectionery, newspapers, and bus fares. In 1974, Australia was experiencing a time of economic transition, including inflation and wage growth. These coins helped facilitate small transactions that were still relevant at the time. However, due to inflation and rising metal prices, the cost of producing the 1 and 2-cent coins began to exceed their face value by the mid-1980s. In response, the Australian government decided to phase them out. Minting ceased. 1989 withdrawal began February 1992, though no longer legal tender. The coins can still be redeemed at face value through the Reserve Bank of Australia. In circulated condition. The 1974 2-cent coin is relatively common and usually fetches face value 2 cents up to 20 cents odd, depending on wear and demand. In uncirculated or mint state MS condition, these coins can be valued higher, depending on the grade. MS60 MS63 mint state. Lower grade, $1 $3 a UD MS64. MS66 high grade, near perfect. $4 $8, OD MS67 or higher gem uncirculated. $10 $20. Odd plus proof sets were also issued by the Royal Australian Mint in 1974. A proof 1974. 2-cent coin with a mirror-like finish and superior strike can be worth $20 to $50 a UD or more, especially if preserved in its original set. The frilled neck lizard has become an Australian icon, also appearing in tourism ads and children's shows. Many school children in the 1970s and 80s would collect 2-cent coins to fill coin folders, kickstarting lifelong numismatic interests. Australia's decision to phase out low-denomination coins in 1992 was one of the earliest among major Western economies and was later followed by countries like Canada and New Zealand. The 1974 Australian Elizabeth II 2-cent coin is a small yet significant artifact of Australian history. It reflects the nation's journey through economic reform, artistic expression, and geographic pride. Though no longer in active circulation, it remains a beloved piece in the collections of numismatists and everyday Australians alike. Whether found in a drawer, a coin jar, or a collector's album, this bronze coin continues to tell a story of a young queen, a frilled lizard in defensive glory, and a country stepping confidently into the future of modern currency. Would you like this? Script adapted into a video narration, educational poster, or collector's guide PDF. I can help format it accordingly. Next up, Australian Elizabeth II 2-cent coin from 1966. In 1966, Australia underwent one of the most significant monetary transformations in its history, the introduction of decimal currency. This landmark event brought into circulation a new set of coins, one of which was the modest yet culturally rich 2-cent coin, featuring the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse. Though small in denomination, this coin holds substantial historical, geographical, and cultural value. On the 14th of February 1966, Australia abandoned the complex pounds, shillings, and pence system and introduced a decimal currency system. This change simplified monetary calculations and aligned Australia with modern economies. The new system introduced coins in denominations of 1c, 2c, 5c, 10c, and 50c. The 2-cent coin quickly became a common part of everyday transactions to modernize Australia's economy. To improve trade with decimal-based countries, to make arithmetic easier for businesses, banks, and consumers. The change was supported by a public awareness campaign featuring the character dollar bill, helping Australians transition smoothly to the new currency. Features: Queen Elizabeth II facing right. Designer: Arnold Mc, a British sculptor renowned for his iconic royal effigy, used in many Commonwealth countries. The Queen is portrayed wearing a tiara, signifying grace and authority. Displays the frill-necked lizard Chlamydosaurus kingi, a species native to northern Australia. Designer: Stuart Devlin, a master craftsman and official goldsmith. The Queen Elizabeth II. The frilled lizard represents Australia's unique fauna and natural heritage. Bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin, diameter, 21.59 umas, 5.18 grams. Edge. Plain. The imagery of the 2-cent coin tells a geographical story. The frilled lizard on the reverse is found in northern Australia, particularly in Queensland and the Northern Territory. The inclusion of this animal highlights Australia's commitment to showcasing its endemic biodiversity. Meanwhile, Queen Elizabeth II's portrait signifies the continuing ties between Australia and the British monarchy, a reflection of Australia's colonial past and constitutional monarchy system. The coin was minted in Australia at Royal Australian Mint, Canberra. Main production some years also involved overseas mints for supplementary production. For example, in London or Canada, the 2-cent coin was minted and circulated from 1966 to 1989, with continued legal tender status until it was officially withdrawn. 1966 to 1989. Regular production, 1992-1994. Minted, only for collector sets. July 1992, official withdrawal from general circulation due to inflation rendering low denominations obsolete. Though withdrawn, the coin remains legal tender in Australia. It is now primarily found in collector circles. Over 217 million 2-cent coins were minted in 1966 alone. This large mintage reflects both the population size and the need for small denomination coins during early decimalisation. In circulated form. These coins are common. Most examples show signs of age, loss of original luster, surface marks, discoloration, and wear, especially on the lizard and queen's effigy. Value, typically face value to 20 cents odd, depending on wear and mint errors. Uncirculated coins are highly desirable to collectors, particularly those from proof sets or preserved mint rolls. Retain full mint luster. Sharp details with no wear. May be graded on the Sheldon scale. MS60, MS70. Value can range from $1 to $10 a UD, depending on the grade, toning, and demand. Proof versions highly polished, mirror-like finish are even more valuable and often command $50 plus AUD. While 1966, coins are generally common due to high mintage, collectors look for mint errors, double strikes, off-center strikes, lamination flaws, or planchette cracks. Coins with unusual toning or those from collector sets. Some 1966 coins may show minor die differences or have higher value based on exceptional preservation. Though the 2-cent coin is no longer in circulation, its legacy remains. As a cultural artifact, it reflects a pivotal moment in Australia's monetary history. As a numismatic object, it appeals to collectors for its design, history, and symbolism. As an educational piece, it provides insight into Australia's flora, colonial ties, and the evolution of national identity. In the realm of coin collecting, the 1966 2-cent coin serves as an accessible entry point for new numismatists, as well as a nostalgic piece for Australians who lived through the decimal transition. The 1966 Australian 2-cent coin is more than just bronze and copper. It is a symbol of change, identity, and natural pride. With Queen Elizabeth II on one side and a frilled lizard on the other, it bridges Australia's past and its native spirit. Whether in worn circulation or gleaming in uncirculated brilliance, this coin continues to tell the story of a nation in transition, from imperial heritage to independent expression. If you'd like a version of this formatted for a specific medium, for example, script for a video, PowerPoint notes, or a printable article, just let me know. Next up, Australian Elizabeth II 2-cent coin from 1973. The 2-cent coin was introduced into Australian currency as part of the country's transition to decimal currency, which occurred on the 14th of February 1966. This event, known as decimal, day, marked the replacement of the Australian pound, shilling, and pence system with dollars and cents. The 2-cent coin was one of the new denominations introduced, alongside the 1C, 5C, 10C, 20C, and 50C coins. By 1973, the coin was in its 8th year of production, part of a stable and popular range of low-denomination coins. Although inflation and changing currency needs would eventually lead to the coin's withdrawal from circulation in the 1990s, in the early 1970s, it was a widely used and essential part of daily commerce. Portrait. The obverse of the 1973 2-cent coin features a young effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984. The Queen is shown facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. Inscription. The inscription reads, Elizabeth to Australia, 1973 design. The reverse of the coin features the frilled neck lizard Chlamydosaurus kingi, a unique Australian reptile known for its distinctive frill which it expands when threatened. Designer. The reverse was designed by Stuart Devlin, a renowned Australian goldsmith and coin designer. The frill and coiled body of the lizard are stylized artistically, making the design both iconic and representative of Australian wildlife. Denomination. The number 2 appears prominently to the left of the lizard. The frilled neck lizard is native to northern Australia and southern New Guinea. Thriving in the tropical and subtropical woodlands, including this animal on the coin, was part of a broader effort to reflect Australia's natural heritage on its currency. Following a trend seen in many countries during the 1960s and 1970s, the Queen's portrait represented Australia's status as a constitutional monarchy and a member of the Commonwealth of Nations. The 1973 2-cent coin was minted by the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. Mintage. Approximately 66.6 million coins were produced in 1973, making it one of the higher mintage years for this denomination. These coins were used daily for small purchases such as lollies, newspapers, and postage. Though made of bronze composed of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. Over time, circulated examples often develop a dark patina due to oxidation. The coin was legal tender until it was withdrawn from circulation in 1992, along with the 1-cent coin. Due to inflation and the cost of production exceeding face value, feature specification composition, bronze 97% copper diameter, 21.59 m weight, 5.18 grams such plane-shaped round. Coins are graded based on their condition, which significantly affects their value and collectability. In circulated form, the 1973 C coin is common and often exhibits signs of wear. Lizard's body and Queen's portrait may appear smooth. Color may appear dull brown or even green due to oxidation. Typical value. Usually worth 2 to 10 cents in average circulated condition, unless it has errors or unique. Toning. An uncirculated or mint state coin has never been used in commerce and retains its original mint luster, crisp detail on both the lizard and the Queen's effigy. Bright bronze color with no handling marks or discoloration. Grading scale usually falls in the MS60 MS66 range on the Sheldon coin grading scale, MS60 MS63, approximately $1 to $3 a UDM, 64 MS66, $5 to $15 a U. Depending on market demand, and I appeal, the 1973 issue is not considered rare, but high-grade specimens are sought after by collectors trying to build complete decimal sets. Coins with minting errors, off-center strikes, die cracks, or double strikes are considerably more valuable, while the 2-cent coin series was short-lived 1966 to 1989. The early years and uncirculated coins have a modest but steady collector base. The Australian 2-cent coin was officially withdrawn from circulation on the 1st of February 1992. Although it remained legal tender for a short period afterward, most coins were recalled and melted down today. The coin stands as a symbol of Australia's decimal transition, and its striking design continues to capture the essence of Australia's unique fauna. The 1973 Australian 2-cent coin is a humble yet historically rich piece of Australia's monetary past. It represents a time of modernization, national identity, and the celebration of native wildlife. While no longer used in everyday transactions, it lives on in collections and serves as a coppery reminder of Australia's evolving currency and culture. Would you like a printable version of this, or images of the coin for reference? Certainly. Here's a detailed script covering the Australia Elizabeth II 2-cent coin from 1969, including its history, geography, circulation, and uncirculated condition, and various numismatic details. The Australian 2-cent coin, a comprehensive guide. 1. Historical background. The 1969 2-cent coin is part of Australia's pre-decimal two-decimal transition series. Issued just a few years after the country moved from the pound system to a decimal currency on the 14th of February 1966, this was a major shift in Australian monetary history. aligning its currency system with international standards and simplifying trade and daily transactions. The 2-cent coin, along with the 1 cent, was introduced in 1966 as a small denomination copper coin. The 1969 issue belongs to the early years of decimal coinage and reflects both Australia's evolving identity and the influence of Queen Elizabeth II, who featured prominently on the Obverse. Geographical context: Australia, a vast continent country in the southern hemisphere, has historically relied heavily on mining and metals, a factor reflected in its coinage. Copper, nickel, and later aluminum, bronze, and other alloys have been widely used in Australian coinage due to local resource availability. The Royal Australian Mint, located in Canberra, the national capital, is responsible for the production of circulating coinage. The mint was established in 1965, specifically to produce Australia's new decimal coins, and the 1969 2-cent coin was struck there. 3 coin. Design and features: Obverse front portrait. Queen Elizabeth II designer, Arnold McKinn, features this. Effigy of the Queen shows her wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a commonly used portrait on coins of the Commonwealth during that period. Inscription: Elizabeth II Australia 1969, reverse back. Design: frilled neck lizard. Climadosaurus, Kingi designer, Stuart Devlin, official goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen's. Significance: the frilled lizard is native to northern Australia and symbolizes the country's rich and unique fauna. Metal composition: bronze 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin. Physical specifications: mass, 5.18 grams diameter, 21.59 millimeters. Edge plane 4. Mintage and circulation: mintage 4 1969, approximately 70,500,000 coins. This makes it a high mintage year, meaning the coin is relatively common in circulated condition today. These coins were heavily used throughout the 1970s and 1980s in everyday transactions. However, with inflation and the increasing cost of minting copper coins, the Australian government eventually withdrew the 1 and 2 cent coins from general circulation in 1992. They are no longer legal tender, but they remain popular among collectors. 5. Circulated versus uncirculated. Condition: circulated coins. Condition: these coins show varying degrees of wear, including smoothing of the frilled lizard's fine detail, worn lettering, and loss of luster. Value typically ranges from 10 cents to 50 cents odd, depending on the condition. Collectors often look for coins in fine to very fine grade with legible details. Uncirculated coins. Condition: no signs of wear, original mint luster intact, often preserved in coin sets or protected rolls. Value can range from $2 to $5 a UD, or more if certified by a grading service, for example NGC or PCGS, with a high mint state grade MS65+. Premium condition coins, with deep luster, no contact marks, and sharp detail are desirable. 6. Collector and numismatic interest. While the 1969 2-cent coin is not considered rare, it forms part of the early decimal series, which holds sentimental and historical value. It's a good entry point for new collectors, especially those focusing on decimal coinage history. Queen Elizabeth II, effigies: Australian native. Wildlife-themed coinage. Special interest also arises from coin roll collectors, who seek uncirculated examples that may have been saved in bank-wrapped rolls at the time of issue. 7. Legacy and cultural significance. The design of the frilled neck lizard remains one of the most iconic and beloved among Australian decimal coins. Even after being demonetized, the 2-cent coin symbolizes a time of national transition and its enduring presence in Australian coin collections ensures that its legacy continues, even as currency shifts increasingly toward digital transactions. Conclusion: the 1969 Australian 2-cent coin is a small but meaningful artifact from a transformative era in Australia's economic and cultural development. From the gleaming presses of the Royal Australian Mint to the pockets of millions of Australians, these coins carried both literal and symbolic value. Today, whether in worn bronze or untouched brilliance, they tell a story of nationhood, nature, and numismatic beauty. If you'd like a printable version of this script or want it formatted for a presentation, let me know and I can prepare it.